Okay, so we've got a new episode of Legends and Leaders, and today it's great to have Nadia here. You built an amazing jewelry business from scratch, and it's gone on to have some nice success. And also, you built up a great platform online that people look to you for design inspiration, for fashion inspiration, you know, people all around the world. And so now they're trusting your style when it comes to jewelry. And I'm excited to just have you here talk about your brand, what you built, and what's to come next. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That's my first podcast ever, so I'm really excited
Woo!
to be here.
It's good to have you. Let's do it. So, just kind of going back into your origins. How did you get interested in the world of fashion, of jewelry? Like, what made you want to build in this category? What made you want to be a creator in that space?
So my interest in fashion or in art and creating in general started very early when I was a kid. I
Mhm.
used to draw a lot, and my parents discovered my talent for drawing and just bringing something to paper out of my imagination. And so they sent my drawings into a competition, and I won first place at 10 years old. And I think I won a $500 toy store co- coupon, and I just spent it all on colors and canvases and more art, brushes, paint brushes. And yeah, that's how I was always spending my free time creating, being in nature, getting inspired by what we did not build as humans. That was always most fascinating to me, is everything that's happening in our environment without our impact. So yeah, I love nature. I drew a lot of animals growing up. um, I was a big fan, still I am a big fan of marine life,
Mm.
horses, just aesthetics in general from the natures. I love shells. I'm very inspired by what I find in nature. And yeah, and then I started also growing my interest in fashion as, a sense of personal expression. In school, I was always looking what were the trends. And then at one point I told my mom, "Hey mom, I don't want you to dress me anymore, and don't pick my clothes. I want to pick my own clothes." And yeah, I think I was in third grade when I told my mom, "Look, this is the jeans that is in now, and I want those jeans, and I do not want the ones that you just bought." So yeah, she let me pick my jeans and everything else from then on. And yeah, that's where I became very aware of how you show up is how you feel. It immediately transpires to how you start your day. I put my clothes out the night before I went to school and really made sure that the outfit was the one that I felt most confident in. And that's how I started my days.
So this has been something that's been developing for a long time, but when did you get to the point that it was like, okay, like I'm wearing other people's stuff, I'm showing other people's stuff off, but I can actually make my own?
That happened when I went or started in high school. I started to get more into accessorizing my outfits, especially handbags and jewelry. And then I couldn't really find pieces that I loved wearing for myself. Everything that I found in store was really tacky, really chunky, and was those like early 2000s where I felt there was nothing dainty and elegant out on the market. So I started making jewelry for myself. And then soon the girls in school would come up to me to ask, "Hey, where did you buy that?" And then I said, "I made it." So they went on and asked me to make one for themselves as well. So they would pay me for it. And I didn't realize that that was
Yeah.
something that others wanted to wear as well and got inspired by. So yeah, those were my first customers. And then I started a Facebook page because that was way before Instagram was even a thing. And I had a Facebook group where people joined and where I would post all my latest handmade designs. I worked with materials I bought at a local craft shop, way more expensive, obviously, than the things that I started buying afterwards in bulk. But it was really, that was the start.
And so you started experimenting, you're making stuff that other people liked and they wanted to have. When did it become a brand? When did it become something that was, really serious? You really took, wanted to build a career out of.
Um, when I realized that there was demand for whatever I was creating, people in people in school and then also people at local craft fairs and markets would I booked my first Christmas market um, when I was still in school, and I think I got a really good deal. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have had courage to do it at all. I got a little table for $25 um, per day for 4 days, and I was like, okay, if I sell one piece, my prices were around that range back then, $25-$30 for like beaded bracelets. And I thought, if I sell one bracelet, I'm gonna be okay. And I almost sold out during the first 2 days. So I had to go and produce more during the night because I wanted to show up with more pieces the next day to make the most out of it. And that was the first time I really started making money off of my what was a hobby back then. And then since then, I used, I'm back at the Christmas market every day, every year. And yeah, that was great to just realize how something that I created with my hands would bring people joy and also would bring me joy. And I feel this passion is something that I wanted to pursue from a very early age on. I also want to share that I went to an art school in Switzerland.
Mhm.
It's an art high school. It's called Liceo Artistico, and it's Swiss German Italian school where you learn Italian, but you also have projects in Italy every year. We, for example, went to Massa Carrara, where we worked on marble blocks to create sculptures and then display them outside of the school, which was amazing. This project, I was really working hard, and was so hungry all the time because that was a very physical work that we did. And then another year, we made cameras obscuras from cardboard and razor blades to create the lens, and then you had to pose outside in nature, and depending on the light, you had to be still for a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and that was really hard. And then we had the light lab in the cellar of a beautiful antique villa in Italy, and that was where we developed the pictures. And that was another project that I still think back and I thought that's just such a nice experience that I had growing up. And yeah, I can only recommend this school to everybody. It was amazing, and it really shaped how I look at art and how I look at creating and fulfill my passion as well. Yeah, and then after graduating from that school, I started architecture because I thought that was the only academic um, thing that I could study that would offer something together with art and creating and crafting. But it was so hard. I was at one of the highest renowned technical high schools in the world, the ETH in Zurich, and it was extremely intense. After a year being honestly close to burning out, I decided to change my direction. I still wanted to pursue an academic career at that point, and I started studying law. And that is when I really had time I know it sounds crazy, but I had time to pursue an artistic hobby when I decided to study something that is not artistic. Because I had this great balance, between reading the books and passing my exams um, to creating something with my hands. And then on the weekends, I would go to local craft fairs and sell my pieces in person and make money while others worked for law firms. I went out and sold my jewelry.
That's awesome. But it's funny how it happened then. Why do you think it happened then? Just besides the time, you think it's just because you maybe missed it or something at that point?
Sorry, say that again.
You think it's because like maybe you just like missed being in art school that it kind of like you gravitated towards that again at that point in time?
Yes, I definitely think that being a creative person, you need to have an outlet. And that
Hmm.
outlet doesn't have to be the same all the time. It can change over time. Mine, started with drawing to and painting to creating wearable art like
Uh-huh.
jewelry, and I work with leather as well. I tried different things. I did a lot of sewing and woodwork in school. And those were obviously my favorite classes because you could create something and then bring it home and be proud of what you just made with your own hand.
Yeah.
And that's just something that I need to have it in my life. I think I would always have a creative outlet, but making it from a hobby to an actual job is what what I'm really blessed with, and that I had the opportunity to discover the craft, to discover the demand, to create pieces that people really want to have and wear.
So I love to just talk a bit about like the recent state of the brand, and also just growing your platform online. Like when did growing your platform on social media become such a big important thing to you? And then how did you use that to help kickstart the brand more recently?
Yeah, so my first brand I started in Switzerland when I was still in school, and that is now run by my mom proudly.
That's nice.
Yeah, that I love that, and it connects us also because me moving to the United States at 29 made, you know, created this gap between us
Mhm.
physically. Like, it's not that easy to go for dinners on the weekends anymore. So being connected through the business as well, and obviously through video calls and social media, um, it's just nice to have that, to be close to the family although you're far away. And then after moving to the US, I moved for love. I met my husband when I was still in law school, and we dated long distance for almost 4 years. And
Wow.
then after graduating, I decided to move to, live with him. He was working in San Francisco at the time, and that's where we lived for 2 years. And when I moved to San Francisco, I left my growing business behind to start something new. And although I still make jewelry, um, I switched to different materials. In Switzerland, I
Mm.
was working with silver and gold plated and gold filled materials, also imported from the US.
Yeah.
Great, great, great material, by the way, to work with. But I wanted, as I was turning 30, my taste shifted from, you know, some from quantity to more quality. So I started working with solid gold and, precious stones or semi-precious stones that I liked, but I wanted the pieces to be forever pieces, and that's how I changed to fine jewelry. And the new brand in the US is now officially getting to 3 years old. We incorporated in Miami after moving during the pandemic, and it's now on just fine jewelry. And I also did a course back in San Francisco to learn how to metalsmith and set stones, and that just opened a whole new world for me, design wise. but also, you know, creative outlet wise, I was enjoying that so much. But then when the pandemic hit, we were at home all the time. So I also started looking at what we owned in, or what I had in my closet, and you realized that there were a lot of things in my closet that didn't serve me, that I didn't know how to combine. So I started sorting out things, um, selling pieces on Poshmark, while also transitioning my wardrobe to from like a crazy Wild West to a more curated capsule wardrobe, so that it would make it easy for me to get dressed in the morning and really feel empowered um, in what I was wearing. So that went hand in hand with my mindset shift from quantity to quality, and owning less, but pieces that last and really are versatile and that you want to wear season after season. And yeah, jewelry wise and also clothing wise, to really focus on the quality items. And people wanted to, follow me on that journey. And I started posting mirror selfies after getting dressed every morning, and people really liked how I combined my different wardrobe pieces, and they started following me along. And fast forward, almost 5 years, I'm almost at 500,000 followers on Instagram.
It's pretty amazing how 5 years of photos and consistency of that, people have really recognized your talent in this area. Um, it's still the content still created the same way, right? It's still these kind of photos you're taking yourself of your different styles you've created.
Yeah, I mean, there's also video now, right? Since Instagram
Hmm.
started, you know, with reels, and video is more compelling to the consumer, to see how fabric flows, how something looks from different angles. I think it's easier to show how pieces can be combined on video. But yeah, I think going with these two, I started making money with posting about my clothing, because people wanted to know where everything was from. So
Hmm.
brands started reaching out to me for collaborations and offering me not only gifted product, but also um, paid partnerships. So that was something else that was totally new for me, but I was really happy. Um, I'm still very, very happy. I feel very grateful to be working with amazing brands. Some of the brands everybody knows, like Adidas, Michael Kors. I had a very amazing collaboration a week ago with Isaia, and Italian tailoring and high-end um, brand that also now has a women's collection. So it's just amazing to be able to work with so many renowned brands now, and also to combine the jewelry and the outfits. Although it was not easy for me to really incorporate my jewelry into my daily outfit posts, because I have so many dainty pieces that are really hard to showcase when you're looking at an outfit in full. And yeah, I'm still working on that and incorporating my jewelry better in my content.
Mhm. So, what is the next kind of phase for you right now? I know you just spoke at this really great Latin Fashion Summit event. You're going to work to scale the brand more. Um, Obviously, you still do brand partnerships, but what does the next 5 to 10 years look like? What is the big picture vision for you, Nadia?
Yeah, so what I really, I obviously, I want to hit 1 million followers on Instagram.
You're
That's
going to get there.
definitely on the list, yes. But it's also about creating a stronger connection with my audience. I'm, I don't know, I felt a little bit embarrassed and shy to step in front of the camera to talk to people on camera. Um, I don't know why. I think a lot of people have that. And I'm not the only one that feels uncomfortable speaking to the audience directly. Also, sharing unedited content. That is something that I was always focused on the aesthetics, making everything look great, removing that pimple. But I think the authenticity is created by leaving the images or the videos as they are and talking to your audience in an authentic way. That's something I want to work on a lot. And at the Latin American Fashion Summit, I also had the pleasure to meet Valeria and Gary from the Creator Method, who I just signed up for. I'm excited to
Nice.
start working with them, and get coaching and yeah, guidance on how to be more authentic, how to create a better setup for combining running two businesses at the same time, being present and having the best output that you can give to both businesses without, I have to, my husband always says that the businesses are competing for my attention. So I have to make sure that I give the businesses, each of them, the best mix of attention to optimize the output. And that's something I'm still working on, and I can definitely use some guidance there with the Creator Method. And yeah, also Eduardo joined, that's my husband. Eduardo joined La Nadia Jewels over a year ago, and we've been really growing this year a lot. We've been able to find reliable manufacturing partners. We open in 3 stores in New York at the Canvas, where we are stocked currently. We joined a showroom downtown Miami, did the Latin American Fashion Summit as a brand in the pop-up. These are all my milestones I didn't even dream of in the beginning of the year. And yeah, it's just so excited to keep working on our dream.
That's awesome. Well, Nadia, that was all the question that I had. I'm excited to see what the next phase of growth is going to look like. I mean, it's amazing how much you've already accomplished so far from this art background, translating it over to the jewelry world and, beyond that. And I think there's so much more to come. So it's going to be great to watch your journey continue. And I appreciate taking the time and doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited, and I hope people listening to this can follow us around at La Nadia Jewels on Instagram, or for my personal account if you're interested in fashion or just want to say hi. It's at La Nadia.
Awesome.